came across social entrepreneurship in France. And I read Muhammad Yunus' book about social entrepreneurship and this idea that business, was not just serving one bottom line, but that was a very interesting way to actually solve problems. And the way to define social entrepreneurship to me is looking at the two words that compose social entrepreneurship. The social part, it means solving a social or environmental problem, and so it means pretty much doing good. Like the entrepreneurship part, it's actually replicability and scalability. So combined, this means there is a fantastic way to solve social or environmental problem in a repeatable and scalable way, which goes beyond like the other approaches that many nonprofit organizations have tried in the past.
For me, first heard about social entrepreneurship in college. I took a class on administration, and it happened to be the business professor at the university was teaching the class. And I just loved it. It was one of my favorite classes on administration of all things. And when I got a chance to hang around with this professor, and I told him, my dream is to move to Romania one day and do good. And he said, have you heard about social entrepreneurship? And I never thought about entrepreneurship much. I don't know that the term was that popular when I was growing up. I mean, never thought about it. But in college, I realized I'm a bit of an entrepreneur. Like, I started a bunch of business. I was a kid who was always selling stuff or had dreams. I was always changing things I was passionate about and excited about. My parents once said, they talked to each other and they mentioned, we're really worried that Ryan won't be able to keep a job. Like, that was a genuine fear my parents had. Like this, because I would just never stick with anything. I would get really passionate, fired up, do something, and then completely pivot and change. And so he's just never going to be able to keep a job. So I learned about social entrepreneurship in college. This was probably 2004. So it's kind of a newer thing, and probably articles and research, and not newer on a global scale, but at least in North America, Midwest, it was out there. Like, nobody had heard about it in my circle. And so I just had this desire to move to Romania and do social entrepreneurship. So for me, social entrepreneurship, I come with this angle that I think it's business, doing good in business, and not just business, because I think it's really entrepreneurs. They're people that are entrepreneurial and have specific traits that make them an entrepreneur. And so I think it's applying that entrepreneurship in a direction to have a social impact with intentionality in a business or in whatever environment they're in to do good. So I think I hope in the future we get away from the segmentation and the differences between entrepreneurship and social entrepreneurship. I really hope it just is entrepreneurship and people start holding each other accountable, saying, where's your social? Where's your impact? How is your business going to do good? Because I think big companies, I look at big companies like Salesforce, a global software giant, has incredible social impact, but they're not a social enterprise, nor would they label themselves that, but they're having incredible social impact. And they're just a great corporation that people want to invest into, and they see that as part of their. I think people like you call it shared value, and they're just believe that it's part of something bigger, and that comes because of the leader's vision. Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, that's innate in him. It's his desire, and so the company he leads does social entrepreneurship. Is a social business in many ways. We wouldn't label it, labels are labels, but that entrepreneur with a desire to do good, to me, is social entrepreneur.